What's up, people? Welcome back to Invest with Claus. My name is Tevi, and this channel is dedicated to my investment journey, along with coverage on crypto, Tesla, NEO, Virgin Galactic, and ChargePoint. Come for the information and stay for the perspective. So the NEO stock is up 4.14% for the week and is doing precisely what it needs to be doing in order to head towards $7 next. What do I mean by this? I'll get to that in just a moment. But first, big shout out to my newest super thanks supporter, Eric L8443, for the show of appreciation on my last video. I know you've been a longtime viewer of the channel, so thank you so much. This means a ton to me. If any of you would like to get more details about super thanks and how to use it, check out this video here. I'll also link it in the description below. Now, let's get back to NEO. Some pretty significant milestones and accomplishments took place since the last time we were on the topic. We've got a few things to cover, and so in today's video, I'll go over some of the latest news on NEO. We'll then take a look at the latest analyst price targets, some changes here with an upgrade, and I'll close with where I now stand as far as buying, holding, or selling. I'll discuss how the technical chart plays into my decision. As always, this is not to be taken as financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is my personal approach to investing and the thought process behind it. I'd recommend watching all the way through so that you don't miss out on anything pertinent I will be sharing. Drop the video a like if you haven't already, and smash that subscribe button. Those are two easy ways to show your support to the channel and help it grow if you appreciate the content. All right, let's get into it. The NEO stock closed the week at $5.28. That's a weekly gain, as I said, of 4.14% and just over 35% for the past month. Short interest has also fallen on a month-over-month basis and now sits at 9.24%. Positive momentum is continuing to build here. NEO celebrated a major milestone just over a week ago. They saw the 500,000th EV roll off their production line. They had a big celebration highlighting all of the models they've produced to date. They also showcased what the Blue Sky Common mantra means, essentially a journey of iteration and evolution aimed at bringing the Blue Sky Common vision of a more sustainable future through electric mobility to life. I'll link the full recap video in the description below if that is something that would be of interest to you. Also, earlier this week, we found out that the NEO CEO was granted the 2024 EV Person of the Year award by Top Gear. This is a major accomplishment, so congrats to William Lee. Jack Ricks, the editor-in-chief at BBC Top Gear, gave this explanation for the award, and I quote, "NEO CEO William Lee has been signing deals all over China, including with Geely, to use its battery swap tech as the standard on future cars, stamping his mark on EVs. Meanwhile, NEO has been busy rolling out its battery swap technology across Central Europe, and if the format spreads the way that it looks like it might, then Lee could become one of the most influential people in the car industry, full stop." End of quote. Those are some high praises, and it makes perfect sense, right? William Lee and the senior leadership team at NEO have been relentless in their pursuit to expand NEO's footprint. Between the production milestone and this award, the industry at large is starting to recognize and acknowledge this fact. The last piece of news to cover then is the official launch of the Envo L60. And I gotta say, this is one good looking SUV. The Envo L60 starting price is $30,439. That's about $4,000 lower than a Tesla Model Y starting price. NEO also claims that the L60 has a roomier interior than the Model Y. This then should provide a solid alternative to prospective buyers, not just in China, but also internationally, right? And that's because William Lee confirmed that the L60 and future Envo models would be sold in every market NEO has a presence. This, of course, will go to further supports the sales recovery path NEO has been on since March. And so when you look, investors and analysts alike are waking up to the execution NEO continues to display. Just this week, JP Morgan analyst Nick Lay upgraded NEO from a sell rating to now a hold. He raised his price target from $4.80 to $5.40. He called out the new battery as a service strategy with the more enticing price structure as a reason. I did cover that in a previous video, so I won't rehash it here. And the other key driver for the upgrade was the launch of the Envo L60 itself and expected sales revenue this will add to the NEO bottom line starting in Q3 this year. It's worth noting here that Nick Lay had gone full stop bearish in February of this year with then a downgrade to a sell rating, right? This reversal after just 3 months is a solid indication, at least to me, of what's coming. I'll expand on that in just a moment here. But looking at the overall consensus rating, we have a moderate buy. This is made up of 17 ratings versus 16 prior. We have 7 buy ratings, 9 hold ratings instead of 7 prior, and we are now down to just 1 sell rating after Nick Lay's upgrade. The high end of the range stands at $10.40, and the low end of the range comes in at $4 even. The average price target is a bit lower at $6.63 versus the $6.92 prior. This still represents an expected upside of 25.57% from the current level and double the returns when we hit the top end of the range. And make no mistakes, I've said this before, we are heading to $10 by year end, potentially sooner, if NEO continues to execute as they have been. This now brings me to what I'm personally doing and how I'm approaching the NEO stock. The last time we spoke, NEO was trading at $5.27 and had finally broken past the $5 resistance. And here's what I told you then. Take a listen. I mentioned that the NEO stock had made it past a major resistance area. What I was referring to is the 50-day moving average, which currently sits at $4.95. With RSI currently at 65.72, there's a bit more momentum that can come behind this move. But as we're getting closer to technically being overbought, remember that our RSI of 70 and above puts you into the overbought zone. Now, that's not to say that NEO couldn't push into the overbought zone and continue higher, but I personally don't see this move going past $6 before it runs out of steam completely. And at that point, it would require a bit of a reset. And as expected, we saw the push to $6.03 where we ran out of steam, followed by a steep drop, and we are now consolidating again. RSI is currently sitting at 55, and I would expect that to drop a bit more as the price continues to hover around this level. We have now made a higher high and are in the process of making a higher low. And so going full circle on what I suspect happens next, as long as we can consolidate a bit longer above $5 with RSI continuing to cool, the next big move up is very likely to come on the back of NEO reporting its delivery numbers for the month of May. So long as they have another positive recovery month, the enthusiasm should be enough to kickstart the run up towards $7 and possibly even touch a 200-day moving average, which currently sits at $7.34. The bottom line here is that NEO is executing as anticipated, and the stock is reacting exactly as I envisioned it would based on the technical signals and sentiment. If things continue to play as I expect they very likely will, this would mean that I realistically only have the next couple of weeks to buy a bit more before the next big move up. And before you ask, the news around the US quadrupling tariffs on Chinese-made EVs is inconsequential. The reason being that NEO does not yet sell in the US, so that will not have a negative impact on the momentum that is now building up. And so in the end, and this is the last thing that I will say, it won't be long before a few of the analysts who currently have a hold rating on the stock flip over to the buy side and raise their price targets. This will likely be predicated on solid delivery numbers we should continue to see month after month, with an even greater surge from September onward as Envo starts deliveries. As far as I'm concerned, now is the time to buy, before the strong consensus buy rating returns and everyone else wakes up to the fact that NEO has indeed turned the ship around and we're truly on the upswing. But on that note, that is it for me today. If you found value in my content and feel so inclined, super thanks are appreciated. Remember to click the like button and share with others who you think could also benefit from it. For my newcomers, subscribe. It's free. And don't forget to ring the notification bell so that you too can stay in the know. I'll be back on Sunday for my weekly video and possibly during the week for an extra one. Till then, you can keep up with me here on X for crypto and NFT related news. Thank you for watching. Stay humble, hustle hard, and I'll see you in the next one.